All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Carmen JC, and we're back with another great video. So we're live, and I want to talk about this hearing that Ben Crump and what is his name? Al Sharpton was supposed to have, but Al Sharpton wasn't even at the hearing, by the way. Al Sharpton was not there. I told you guys yesterday that I was going to go because I said it was in Chicago, and if it was in Chicago, I told you guys that I am there, and I was there. Okay, so I want to talk about this whole hearing, this grift, which I knew it was a grift. I said it was a grift, and it is a grift. Okay, I want to talk about this. Shout out to all of my people that are in here, DW, JSF, Rick. I really appreciate you guys for being here, for joining. I want to go ahead and get right into some topics. I have a guest that's going to be coming on the show. I don't know if she is ready. I think she's ready. We're going to see. Whenever she gets on the camera, I'll add her on to the show. So just thank you guys for being here. By the way, I'm going to be pulling up the super chats. I don't know if I'm going to do it as we go or I'm going to do it at the end. I'll probably try to do it as we go because I don't know how to filter out the super chats. But so I went to this press conference with Al Sharpton. And well, it wasn't with Al Sharpton. It was supposed to be with Al Sharpton, but it was with essentially Ben Crump. And essentially, if you guys watched, nothing happened. Okay. The results were undetermined upon investigation. So they're saying they need to investigate more, which means they need more of your money in order to figure out what is going on with these like videos with these this case. And like I said, they are not trying to find the truth. That is not what they're doing here. They just want to gaslight us and tell us that this is a race issue. That's what they want to do. They want to make us believe that this is about race, and it is not. It is not, actually. It's not about race. We don't care about the race of people. And I think that is very important to put out. Now, I do have a guest. Her name is She Hunts Lefties. She's going to come on as my beautiful friend, and I'm going to add her to the stage now because we're going to react to a few videos. So let's go ahead and add her to the stage. Hi, honey.
Hi.
Okay, guys, this is my beautiful friend. She Hunts Lefties. She has a platform on Instagram, and she's currently working on her YouTube channel. So I want you guys to meet her and to show her some love and go follow her Instagram, which is She Hunts Lefties. I don't even know if you guys can see her tag, but it's literally She Hunts Lefties on Instagram. But we're going to play a few videos and we're going to react to them together because me and her are very like in sync with a lot of our thoughts. So I'm going to play the first video. Friend, you can tell me what you think about it after the video plays. So let's go ahead and play this first video. Oh, before we play the first video, I want to show you guys my photo there at the conference, so you guys know I was there. This is me. This is me at the NAACP 117th annual convention. I think one of the leftists, they took a picture of me. She was like, "You want a picture?" I was like, "Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to take a picture if you knew I wasn't here for this." But she still took a picture of me. I am very appreciative. And yeah, so we're going to get into the first video and we're going to get her reactions to this first video. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death undetermined, pending investigation. And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. The manner of death undetermined, pending investigation. Preliminary findings, and this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time. He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation He said, corona incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed, as is common, accompanied in the body cavity. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. He said, it is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too would hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said that.
Okay. Okay. So what is happening here is,
I'll be honest with you. I honestly didn't
yeah.
even. I don't even think he understood what he read. I feel like I was watching somebody like maybe a third grader like reading with their finger because I really don't even think he understood what he read. It all came off very performative. You know what I mean? It came off as like this is just what I'm just gonna read it and read it with emotion and hope to God that these people just get what I'm trying to say. But honestly, I don't even think that I don't know. When I watch people do stuff like this, I really ask myself, like, do you actually care about the case itself, or are you just really trying to put on a show? Because that's what I feel like I was looking at, like somebody putting on a show.
Exactly. And quite frankly, out of all of those results, what you essentially got there was they found nothing. Okay. It was a big nothing burger. And he's trying to make it like, oh, well, they kept the throat. So usually we'll keep the throat if we see something wrong. But they haven't even released the first set of autopsy results. They didn't release the official autopsy results, which is like, if you guys didn't get the official autopsy results, why are you guys releasing your independent autopsy results that is undetermined, where you're trying to convince people that like it's something wrong or something could be wrong, or even with the discoloration of the head in the back. And I'm going to play another clip for you right now so you can because TMD, they touched on the discoloration thing in the back, and I want to play a clip for you so you can see what he had to say about it, because like they're just trying to make something out of literally nothing.
I
So I'm going to play this clip right here for you, okay?
let's do it.
A possible head injury. This is more complicated than it's thing on Nolan Wells' skull, his head, that revealed a possible injury, a possible head injury. This is more complicated than it seems. Crump said that it was the focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue in the back of the head. And so that suggests, with red discoloration, that there might have been some sort of injury. Crump did not elaborate on that. Now, we should say, and we are not medical professionals, but WebMD talks about this, and we've actually seen this in other autopsies, where when a body is put on a slab, that can cause discoloration. That can cause the pooling of blood. Now, we don't know that happened here, but we do know that this independent autopsy followed the official autopsy, where presumably Nolan Wells' body was put on a slab. So in terms of what caused.
Okay, so what he's saying there essentially is that with that discoloration in the back of his head, that it could have been because he was put on a slab and that caused the discoloration. What do you think about that?
Another one, very performative, very, very performative. I think when people are like, when something like this happens and it shakes the community the way that this tragedy obviously does, I think that people want to come up with answers. They want to speculate and try to figure something out. But I think when it's something like this where we have so little information to go off of, I think they just want to come up with something, and for that reason it comes off so performative. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just coming up with something to say so that people feel like they care. But it's like, you can't give people something that you clearly don't have. It means nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. And I think a lot of this, like people, like what my hypothesis is that like now that the BLM grift is up, they're on to this new grift where they're finding these kids that are in these two parent households and they're like, look at them, they're model citizens. You should give me your money now because we were doing criminals and the criminal gig is up, you know?
Yep.
So I think that this is the newest grift that they have going on. And it's just, it like DW, he said it's sad. It really is just sad. It's
It is.
sad.
I
It's
agree.
actually pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
Yeah. Because they're, I mean, they're profiting off of the death of these children eventually. Like that's what I feel like we're seeing people profit off of death. They're not coming to us with, like, new information, no new findings. It's really just them trying to appeal to the black community, and they have nothing to bring to the table. And I think they just know deep down that everybody of color wants to assume that this is a race issue, which, I mean, they can't prove that. So being that they can't prove that, it's like, let's go around and see what we can find to kind of frame this into what we expect it to be. And I think it's all performative bullshit. Absolutely.
Okay, so I have another clip here that I want to show you because Judge Mathis had a take on this. And by him being a judge, I want to get your take on what he had to say because I want you to kind of just elaborate on, do you think that as a judge, he's looking at the evidence or is his argument more emotionally based? So I'm going to play the clip of Judge Mathis and you let me know what you think.
Let's do it.
Now, I believe he was killed. But I'm a judge that has to weigh all the evidence. Preliminarily, that's what I see. You don't leave your friend on an island, seeing that he has left his phone, and not at least go back. You came there with him. You left him there, you say, because he wanted to stay. But you notice that he's left his phone. How was he going to get home in the first place? Wouldn't he need his phone in order to call his transportation? Or they should have known some of that. He would have said, I'm going to get home by such and such way. Hey man, I'm not coming. Y'all go ahead. I got a young lady. Okay, man. Is she gonna bring you home? How you gonna get home? You don't ask any of those questions? So you must have asked those questions. If you didn't, that's more evidence that I believe contributed to the reasonable suspicion. So I'm with the prosecutor. How about that so far? So you won't have to say that the judge is making conclusions without getting the evidence. The prosecutor has found enough evidence to create a reasonable suspicion that a crime occurred. And now they're going to interview everybody and come up with some answers on whether to indict. So I'm there with the prosecutor so far. Take it to the grand jury. Now I have to wait until what the grand jury.
Okay. Okay. What do you think about what Judge Mathis had to say?
I think reasonable suspicion is not evidence. I think because you cannot prove suspicion, it's not something that's hardcore evidence. I think the wording was very selective in that. I think the wording, like even when he said, they left him, they've been wording it like that for a while, but from what I understand, he left them. And for the simple fact that there was so many other people there, he makes it seem as if this boy had no possible way to get home. But we're looking at an event on July 4th where you have, 30, 40 people surrounding them. I don't think getting home was really ever an issue. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, as somebody who grew up in the 90s, I was always taught that if you come with the people who you come with are the people who you leave with. And so I think that we need to ask ourselves, like, why would he leave his friends and not let them know that he would be okay to find his way home, or whatever the scenario would be. I don't, however, feel like suspicion is evidence, and I think as a judge that is completely irresponsible of him to even use that wording, because when you're working with the court of law, it's like hardcore evidence is the only thing that matters. People go to jail based on hardcore evidence. People get sentenced based on hardcore evidence. Your suspicion means nothing. And so I feel like it's pandering. It's pandering. It's trying to give them what they want to hear so that he looks like he's doing the Democrat thing. That's what I feel like I'm seeing. I think he was very out of line as a judge to say something like that, and he's further misleading the black community.
And I think it just shows you how unqualified certain people are for the jobs that they do have. And then you talk about DEI and you want to say, and I'm not saying he's DEI judge. He's been a judge for a very long time. So I'm not saying that he's a DEI judge. But what I'm saying is that, like you are using non-facts to come up with your conclusion about, like, everything he stated. He did not state any facts. Everything was just pure emotion, pure he say, she say. Oh, they said he didn't come on, they said he didn't say. Exactly. So it becomes like, okay, are you even qualified to talk about this? Because if you can't put your race to the side, you should not be a judge. Okay, if you're making decisions off of your race, why do we have you in a position of power? That is the problem that we're having within the community already, because black people are attaching to other black people because they're black. That's literally the problem that we have. And another part of this was like, okay, so his funeral happened, and I've been trying not to talk about his mother, even though I think she is acting. I think she's very performative. She might be very sad. I've been trying my best not to talk about her. But in the funeral, they had like this party for Nolan Wells, like this like celebratory thing. And they were saying that, oh, why didn't the other boys come? But it turns out the other boys wasn't invited. So I'm going to show you a clip of this party, and then you'll give me your take on it, because it's like they're trying to paint this blackety black picture. So I want you to take a look. Sorry, I can't play the music. So yeah, as you can see, there is nothing but black people at this party, but none of these people were specifically on that boat. Okay, so the people that were on the boat were like, they were not invited to this party. As a white person right there, I saw one white boy. Okay, I saw one white boy, but it's like the people that were on this boat that was involved with this incident, they weren't allowed to celebrate their friend's life, even though they were truly friends from elementary. What do you think about that?
I think that's horrible. I think that's very sad, and I definitely blame the family for that. I think that his friends are getting the worst of it because nothing has been proven thus far, and still they are crucifying these people just based on the simple fact that they're white, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. I think that these young boys deserve a chance just like anybody else, and in the country of America, I believe strongly in innocent until proven guilty. You know what I mean? So I think the fact that these kids, because ultimately these are children, they don't get a chance to grieve their friend correctly because they're scared. They're scared. They're getting threatened. They're getting threatened. You have people telling them, saying all types of racial slurs to them, and these boys just seem like they want the answers just as much as we do. You know what I'm saying? Even though they may have a little bit more input because they were actually there, they seem like they really just want answers just as much as we do. So I think it's horrible that they're treating them like this, especially like because they're kids. But for the fact that they're white and they're being treated like this, it just goes to show you, like, this is how racism is created. You know what I mean? This is how racists are made. When people put people in a position to where they feel like they can't have an opinion, and just basically want to crucify them because of the color of their skin without any evidence or any proof. So I think it's horrible, and I think it's disgusting. I think all these adults that are causing this to happen, and all these people that are advocating for a social, not a racial type of storyline that they're going for, I think they're all irresponsible people. And I think when we do find out whatever happens, if it does come down that these boys are absolutely innocent and nothing has ever happened, I really hope that the black community issues a huge apology, because it's very disgusting. It really is. They have to apologize to these children. It's not fair.
It's like you don't know the black community at all. They're not apologizing ever. It's like you don't know the black community at all. They're not going to apologize. Yeah, they're not apologizing. And I think what you said was very key. This is how racism is created. It is absolutely how racism is created, because a lot of people, they're not like inherently racist. What happens is they get into these situations where now these kids, their lives is probably going to be ruined forever because of a black kid dying in their presence. When black kids die all the time in other black kids' presence and nobody cares. Black kids kill other black kids all the time. Nobody cares. And I just think you made a very beautiful point that it's bad for the kids. And I'm going to play some clips of Warren. He was one of the kids that was actually not on the boat, but he was on one of the boats that traveled with them. And Brandon Tatum did such an awesome job by going out there and speaking to the kids. So I'm going to play you a few of those clips, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk about them. Okay.
Okay, let's get into it.
Alrighty.
At the very beginning of all of this, and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. You know, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends, and I mean, Nolan was like a brother to me, and Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. You know, there's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I mean, I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
Okay. What do you think about what that young man had to say?
I mean, I know it's like my personal, like, outlook on things, but I just feel like I'm not looking at a guilty person. I don't think that the idea of you going from never having an argument with somebody to just turning around and just saying, this person is a murderer, I think it's absolutely insane. I think that you can obviously tell that before this even happened, that these people were a very tight-knit community, and race never played a part in their lives. I feel like that's what I get from them. Whenever I see these people talk, even the parents, I don't see that race was ever a factor for them. I feel like they literally just were just people living amongst each other, and they was just like family, like a big family. And I think that now that this kid is dead, unfortunately, I feel like they are now trying to make it into a racial thing because that's what the media would prefer to do. But I feel like it's not necessarily what the family wants to go along with. I think that's just what the media wants to, to make it into. And it's unfortunate. It really fucking is unfortunate because every scenario is not going to be a racial issue just because it's a situation that deals with two people from two different racial groups. You know what I mean? So the fact that they even put it in a picture like that, I feel like it's hurtful, and it's unfortunate, and it's disgusting. But performative, I think, is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, and you know what I like to think about when I think about these racial issues, when they just like, oh, it's a white person, a black person, it had to be racial. I think about the LGBTQ, right? So if it's like me getting into it with a person and they just so happen to be gay, and they're telling me it's a hate crime, and I'm like, no, this person is just an asshole. Like it's not necessarily because they're gay is why I am upset with this person. No, maybe they're just an asshole. Yeah, you ever thought of that? And I think a lot of the time people don't think about that aspect of things, that like everything is not racially motivated, and everything is just not, like it's not more than what it has to be. And a lot of the times this is what they do. They try to make it into a bigger deal than what it actually is because it's more profitable. And that is the problem with a lot of these like narratives that are pushed out there. Like even people with me, like they're like, you're pushing a narrative. I'm pushing a narrative, but you can't recognize Al Sharpton and Ben Crump with every black person that's dead that is due to something that either they did or because it's of white people. Like, I just don't get that. So it's just really confusing when I see the Black community are so like headstrong when it comes to these issues, and they're so like, this is what it is. And you can, like when I went to the press conference today, I went there and these people think it's because of race. They were preaching about race. They were preaching about Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, I know I'm in enemy territory, because none of this stuff that they were doing, it felt like me. And even like at the end, they wanted to pray, and I'm going to be really honest, as honest as I can get. I didn't even want to pray with them because I don't know what God they're praying to. What God do you guys serve? Because I don't even feel comfortable praying with you guys, because you guys are hateful, and whatever God that you guys are serving, it's probably hateful too, because whatever you guys are doing is not it. I have a couple more clips from the kid that sat down with Brandon Tatum. I'm going to just go play them in order, and then you can just give me your take on them after they're done. So this is the next clip. I'm sorry, I think it's loading. Hopefully. It's taking a second to load. Let me try again. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this to load. It didn't. It's taking a second to load. It doesn't want to show you guys. It's like, you guys are not going to put the truth out there.
Someone in the comments said Crump cannot read or speak well. So
it's so baffling. Like, how are you in an attorney? Like, how is this he's like decompose. What word was he? Was like decompose or something? Like, excuse me? Like, are you okay?
You should not be having that much trouble articulating words when you pass the bar.
Exactly, especially as a Black American man. And I've looked into his ancestry, so he's Black American. What is happening here? You know, what the hell is happening? I'm gonna see if I can get this this video up. It didn't pop up. Hold on, let's try again. I don't know what's happening with this video, but I might have to just skip on to the next. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see if I can get the next video going.
Is it something that you guys typically did together? That you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. Being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year, and he was, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and like to go on the boat. Not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises, like to do it all, on the water, And Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water and, have a good time with the guys. And that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said, like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us. And he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us. And, but started 4th of July, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming, everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal. Huh?
Very, very big deal. And, I actually stayed with Nolan that night, and my buddies.
Okay, so the point of that one was I just wanted to play that he said that Nolan Wells had went the year before on the 4th of July to that island with him, and apparently he came back safe. So I wanted to get your take on that. And then I believe the video that wouldn't pop up, he spoke about there being 3 boats full of people. So he essentially, there was not just that one boat with 3 people on it. It was 3 boats following each other, like as if you're in a car and you and 3 other cars are going somewhere and you guys are all following each other. That's exactly what happened. They met up at a certain port and they all followed each other out to Horn Island. So I want to get your take on the 3 boats that went out together, and the fact that he actually went to Horn Island the year before, because I think that is actually pretty relevant.
I think the fact that I think if we backtrack and just look at this case and look how everything has been worded since the beginning, since the public has found out that this is something that has happened between, like, a black kid and some white kids, I think that and great job to Brandon Tatum on that, because a lot of people, I think, had an envisionment that some way, somehow, it was maybe just Nolan and then his friends that we've seen. I think the fact that we now are able to look at it in a better perspective and say, okay, well, it wasn't like that. It wasn't the way we thought it was. And I did see that clip that you're talking about, and it was that he definitely did say it was 30 of them, and they were split between, I think, 3 boats, if I'm not mistaken, is what he said.
Hmm.
And that alone just goes to show you that there were so many other people there, and I'm pretty sure that there were other black people there as well. So I just think that like that's something that they left out or just worded differently in order to fit their narrative. I That's what I think it is, and I think the fact that he was there the year before, nothing happened, just furthermore proves that this is not a racial thing that we're looking at. We're looking at something horrible that happened when a bunch of kids went out to have fun. This is not, this is not a black kid that got, lynched, or they didn't find his body beaten and bruised up. They didn't find him hanging from a noose. They found him in the water. You know what I mean? After this situation happened. So once again, I just don't think this. I can't say for surely, but from what I'm seeing, I don't understand how people are coming up with the idea that this was a racial situation. But now that we understand what the setting itself looked like, we can kind of piece together exactly what happened, and we can kind of drift further and further away from that ideology of it being racism.
Exactly. And I think that, like you said, like the people are trying to put this narrative like, oh, he was his only black kid. I think they said it on The View and then they like corrected themselves afterwards because they're so focused on highlighting the fact that this was a black kid in a white space. And they never want to talk about their communities. They never want to talk about why black kids have to get raised in white spaces. It's because your communities are trash and your communities are violent, and the criminality within your community and the black on black crime and the dirt, okay? Not to mention the dirt. So they never want to talk about why this is happening. They never want to look inward and say, well, we need to make safe spaces within our community so people don't have to flee our communities to go to other communities like white communities. And it's so unfortunate that we have to go this low. We have to stoop this low in order to make ourselves look like victims. Like from the go, they didn't have the autopsy report. They didn't even know the cause of death. They didn't even know, like they didn't even wait to see if there was foul play. They just said like on the surface, it didn't look like foul play. Like, hey, on the surface, his body doesn't look bruised. It looked like he might have just accidentally drowned. That's what we're seeing here. People come to the island all the time. It probably was a riptide. He probably got taken away. The fact that people don't know where he was, okay, we can ask more questions about that. Sure. You know what I'm saying? We can ask more questions about that, but to just automatically make this about race, this is the biggest part of why I'm involved with this case, because I think this case is like a nothing burger for sure. But the reason why I'm involved with this case is because I want people to know that this case is not about race. This is not about race. This is, even if they did kill him, they didn't kill him because he was black.
Black. Absolutely.
Exactly. They didn't do that. And a lot of these people are just grifting off of this situation, trying to make it like the mother, the father. If you notice, it's always the black women. The black women are always front and center. They ready to get on screen and they ready to play the role of this freaking strong black woman who lost her son. And I'm not trying, I promise you, I said nothing about this woman this whole time. I said nothing about the mother. I didn't even show any clips of this mother this entire time on my podcast. Even today, still no clips of her. I showed 0 clips of her because I'm not trying to take away from the conversation by talking about the mother, where people could be like, oh, you're attacking this mother that just lost her son. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I do understand that crying on camera and and traveling to Chicago for a press conference is not what you do when you're grieving. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know. I'm getting a little aggressive, but it's just not what you do when you
Yeah,
are grieving. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. I think that if you look at even the case with Carmelo Anthony, I think these people, these parents, these children die and these tragedies happen, and I think they just more so get caught up in that limelight. They get caught up in that attention that they're getting behind these tragedies, and I think they're forgetting the purpose. I think they forget why they're actually standing there in the first place, and it's crazy because I mean, Nolan's family, from what I did see, they kind of did try to go around and detour from the racial, stigma that they were trying to attach to the story. But even still, I feel like when you have a lawyer like Ben Crump, who is so obsessed with simply just accusing everybody of being a racist, it's like this is what these people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think the parents they failed these kids. They are failing these kids. If they didn't fail them in life, they're failing them in death.
Do you think that there is a GoFundMe grift that is like rising where
Absolutely,
people are using that GoFundMe money and
absolutely,
now they're starting to see like dollar signs rather than actually
absolutely,
care about their kid dying? Do you think
absolutely,
that like that's
absolutely,
a, yeah?
absolutely.
Because
And I
I'm
think
starting to see that too.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I do, and I think that shame on GoFundMe for even allowing these people to raise this money without even knowing what it's going towards. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these people are buying houses, they're buying cars, they're buying clothes with this money that is from the tragedy of the kids dying. And it's like, how are you so comfortable showing up to court in a new Mercedes, knowing that you got it from your dead kid? That for me is crazy, and it seems very unapologetic, and it seems very selective and performative. And it's like when you get this money, when these people are giving you this money, they're giving you money because they feel like you're supposed to be you're sad, you're grieving, you're not able to do the things that you need to in order to pay your bills because you're going through something. But if you're out or you're on a plane or like you said on your way to Chicago to do meet and greets, obviously you're not that sad. You know what I mean? But that's neither here or there. I just think the whole GoFundMe thing is disgusting.
What do you think about this idea of these women being able to like cry on command? So they go to these press conferences, they're like touring the country, and when it's time for them to cry, they just like cry. What do you think about that? Do you think it's like some type of mental health issues that's going on, or do you think that they just see the dollar signs and they can do anything for the money?
I'll be honest with you. I think with this case, unlike the Carmelo Anthony case, I actually can see that this family is mourning for for their child. I do think that they do have some type of sympathy for what happened to the son because you can tell that they love their son, and you can tell that they love the life that their son lived while he was here. You know what I'm saying? They loved his friends. They accepted him into their home. You know what I mean? So I think that they are like sad about it, and I do think they are grieving. But like I said before, I think when you have somebody representing you who is so built on making it about racism, it's like it makes them look, it just puts them in a very dark place to where they look like they're now part of the problem.
So do you think like the case would have been different had Ben Crump and Al Sharpton not like, got
Absolutely,
on the case? You think it would have been
absolutely,
a different thing?
absolutely,
I think a lot of the times it prevents people from actually setting like being able to deal with what actually happened, right? So you're giving them these other ideas that it was something else, there was some foul play here, rather than just saying like, hey, I'm sorry, this was unfortunate, it looks like it was no foul play here. Do you think that like Al Sharpton and Ben Crump is taking advantage of this family like they take advantage of most families when they get on a case, instead of actually letting them know, like, and having them deal with their grief and letting them know that, this is just unfortunate, and unfortunately, unfortunate things happen in life. And I'm not trying to be like unempathetic. That's not what I'm trying to be and say like, oh, we'll just get over it. I'm not saying get over it. I'm just saying like these people need to be able to deal with their son's death, and telling them that like it's someone else's fault when it's probably not. It's probably not the best way to go about it. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. I think that they're just a distraction. They are literally just a distraction. I feel like they're a token piece, and they are literally just doing what they feel like they want. They think black people want to hear. They're pandering to black people. That's what they're doing. Black people want this to be about racism. That's just the bottom line. They want this to turn out to be another racial issue, so they can go ahead and terrorize the streets and ruin these cities, and have all these marches, and and have BLM come out. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? They just want another. I think that's what it is with them. I think they just look for the next racial subject that they can just, like bind themselves to in order to say, yeah, white people hate us, to continue the racism. And I don't even think they realize that they are the people that are actually causing the majority of the division, because they are so built in making everything about skin color. You know what I mean? Even if it's not about that. When you bring people like Al Sharpton into a space, that's what you're going to get. We've seen it time and time again from every year with everything that he's ever did. That's what he brings. That is the guy. That's what, when you want to hire somebody who's going to make everything about race, you hire Al Sharpton. Because that's what he's good for. He's not good for getting down to the facts about evidence. He's good for preaching. He's good for preaching hate into black people and telling them that they're so hated by the white community so that they continue to be divided. That's what people like Al Sharpton do. So I think that the biggest mistake that they ever made was having somebody like him on there, because all he's doing is creating a mess out of the situation based on no evidence, by the way. So, yeah.
What do you think about the fact that, we just celebrated our 250th anniversary for this country, and this is actually the day that they're making about Nolan Wells rather than the actual 200? Because I'm sure Nolan Wells is not the only person that died that day. And like I said, it's very unfortunate, but this was a big day for our country, and it's like the Democrats have hijacked that day to make it all about them. What do you think about that?
Yep, I absolutely do think they have definitely hijacked the July 4th, and because I like you said, he's definitely not the only tragedy that has taken place that day. I'm pretty sure if we go back and we look in the news to see exactly in all the states what happened that day, we can find tons of different situations that have happened where people either got hurt or died. But I think with this specific case, it was like, we have some white kids, we have a black kid that's missing. We can take this and frame it and fuel the black community into more hate. You know what I mean? It was like the perfect circumstance for them to do this. You know what I mean? It was set up perfectly. You have white children that clearly, these are kids, by the way. You have white children. You have a family that is broken. The worst thing, you have these people in the middle now that are speaking for them, that are telling them, oh, these white kids, you got people saying now, oh, I don't want my kids around white kids. This is what's happening because you have people like this that are giving off these nasty messages and completely tearing our country in half. It's really disgusting. These people are the real racists here. They are the real racists of America, because every
I
single
totally
thing that
agree.
they do, that's what it comes down to. These people are the real racists. That is, black supremacy is a real thing.
It really is. And that's what, honestly, being within that press conference, I feel like I was the only conservative there around all of these liberals, around all of, not even just liberals, but black liberals. And these are like black supremacist type liberals, where if you say that you support Charlie Kirk, they immediately give you the side eye. They don't want to hear anything else from you. So I definitely think that the black supremacy thing is real, because it was like a Klan rally. It was like a black Klan rally. And they were just talking about how racist this country is, how much they hate this country, how much this country have done to black people. But then they're bringing up stuff from like 50 and 60 years ago, but they're talking about how traumatic the country is. And to me, that's when I start to know, like, this is just, it's a scam, because it's like, you can't even bring up recent stuff. Like, even though you're bringing up Trayvon Martin, that was a scam. Breonna Taylor, that was a scam. And I say this because it's like, y'all don't even acknowledge what happened with BLM. You don't even acknowledge that it was a scam and they ran off with the money. We just looked the other way. That's why when you were saying earlier, like, oh, well, black people need to apologize, I'm good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, because they
Okay.
never do.
They're
Yeah.
not even going to acknowledge. You're talking about apologize. They're not even
Exactly.
going to acknowledge what they have
Yep.
done, what they have done to these children. And they don't even look at them like they're children. They look at them like they're disposable. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they view their own lives as disposable and they
Mm.
view their own community as disposable. And it's really disgusting. I don't want to talk everyone's head off. I know we've been kind of going on this for about 45 minutes. Friend, can you tell them where they can find you?
Of course. So if you guys like what you heard fit today, my Instagram is She Hunts Lefties with the underscore at the end. My YouTube is the same thing, She Hunts Lefties underscore. Red Wing Dove is another way that you can find me, but those are my ads. If you have TikTok, that is also another place where you can find me. Everything is She Hunts Lefties. So if you're ever looking for me, that's what you type in, and there I will be.
And I typed it into the chat for you guys, so you guys can go ahead and follow her. You said at Red Winged Dove too.
Uh-huh.
Red Winged Dove. I want to type it in there. Oh, damn. I wasn't typing anything. I want to type it so they can have it at least written out for you for this. Okay. Okay. God. Okay. So the three. Okay. So the three doesn't, not the three. Okay. They're going to be typing in Red Wing Dove 3. Okay. So not the three guys. Is that too much for y'all to handle or do I have to retype it? Because not Red Wing Dove 3. It's just Red Wing Dove.
Somebody in
Okay.
the comments said that they heard that they don't no longer feel bad for the family, and that's what happens when you have a person like Al Sharpton and Ben Crump speaking for you. How you feel bad for
Exactly.
them. But
Prometheus, I know you left a super chat. I try to do the super chats while it's going. I should have just like been putting them up, but I suck at it. Oh, here we go. I found it. So I was gonna put up one of these super chat. I'm completely blown away by you two beautiful and well informed sisters. Thank you and God bless you.
thank you. So fun.
Thank you, Prometheus. We really appreciate that. I think we got another one in here. I don't think it says anything, but I'm just going to put it up there. Okay. Unk alert. Okay, one more. It says finger heart. I don't think we have. If you guys have any questions and you want to send some questions through, guys can go ahead and send questions because we're going to get out of here in just a moment. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and send them through now, especially if you guys have any questions for She Hunts Lefties, because she's gonna be exiting soon. I mean, I'm gonna exit soon too, but you guys know where to find me. I don't know. So if you guys have any questions that you want to put into the comments, right now would be the perfect time, or else we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I really appreciate everybody for joining. Make sure you guys like, comment, hit the hype. I will put the Buy Me a Coffee link in the comments. I'm probably going to do it after the stream because I'm not that tech savvy to get it done before, but whatever. I'm pretty sure I could have figured it out. When is your next live stream? I actually am trying to do one live stream a week. I was actually supposed to do this one on Friday, but because I went to this press conference, I decided to do this one here. I have a question. Hold up. Not I have a question. Hold up. I know y'all lying. Y'all gotta get the typing. We are live. Y'all gotta type. If y'all got questions, go ahead. I like to give you guys something back because you guys are always supporting me. So I want to answer your questions. If you guys, can you confirm if Nolan's mom opened a okay, let me put this up here. Hold on. Can you confirm if Mola Moms opened a trust the next day after her son passed to get ready to sue? I cannot confirm that. I haven't even heard that. So I would have to look into that and get back to you, Javi. I would definitely have to give back to you. But at this point, I will not be like surprised if that is a thing. I'm not surprised. They have raised over $800,000. So I would not be surprised if they do have some type of trust or something set up. And mind you, they're so desperate that they're willing to give $125,000 for information that leads to an arrest because they want to grift off of this. If they don't get an arrest, this will die. Okay. And they'll just have to grift for the rest of their life. And they know they're not going to be able to grift. So I don't know at all, really,
It's
if
actually
that is a
a
thing.
really good question. I actually want to. We should look into that to see, like, how true that is.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that either.
I haven't heard that either. Prometheus said, what is your motivation to keep it real? Go ahead, friend. You go first.
Um, I'm a very like, I guess you would consider unfiltered individual. I feel like the only motivation would be to tell the truth. For me, telling the truth is a really important thing. I think that we live in a time right now where everything is just so easily um people are very gullible, and everybody doesn't necessarily know where to get the right information. And so I think by me telling the truth and always being a source for telling the truth, just like Carmen, I think when being that source for people is, you always leave a door open for people to be able to come to you and ask you for certain things. So me personally, that's my motivation, because I'm always for the people around me, somebody that they can count on to tell the truth. So that's the most important thing for me. We can't trust the media, we can't trust anybody right now. If you ask me, I think independent media is probably the best that we have right now. We get the most information. We're the people that are giving you the most unbiased information. So telling the truth for me is what keeps me going. And
Absolutely.
change
And
and change
yeah,
within the
and
Black
just
community,
know,
of
right.
course.
And just knowing that if it does change, what we can benefit from that change, what our country, not just us as people, but our country can benefit. And for me personally, like I've had a rough past, so I feel like I'm giving back because of the things that I've taken and the things that I've done in the world. So now this is my way of giving back, and I've gotten right with myself, and I don't lie to myself, so I'm not gonna lie to other people. I keep it real with myself. I have standards and boundaries for myself, so I'm going to set those same standards and boundaries for other people. And it's not to say that you have to think or be like me. It's just to say that I hold myself to this standard. And if you don't hold yourself to the standard, then I don't really know what to say about that. I can only critique the Black community so much, and honestly, I'm getting really tired of critiquing the Black community.
We
I'm
all
tired.
are.
It's
We all
it's
are.
like talking to a 5-year old. It's
It
literally
is.
like talking to, like, between Black people and women. I don't know who's the bigger babies. Who's the bigger babies, Black people or women? Like,
Yep.
and to
Yep.
compare a whole community to women is really bad. I just want
Yeah.
to put that out there. Just to even be
Yeah.
compared to women is a bad thing. So, yeah, it gets hard at times, and sometimes you get unmotivated. But you guys are the ones that keep us motivated. You guys coming and supporting us, donating, supporting the channel, that all keeps us motivated, keeps us going, because you really don't know what us as creators have to deal with. We have to intake in a lot of negative content, honestly. And that really does do something to your spirit. It does something to my spirit by having to take in so much negative content. So sometimes, like, when you don't see me, it's just like, okay, I need a break, because I just don't want to, be a parent to Black people today. I don't got
It's
time to be
overstimulating.
mama to Black people.
Yeah, it's
It's very
overstimulating.
overstimulating.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. So, guys, let me see if I have any more questions, because if we don't have any more questions, we're going to get out of here. Okay, guys, I really appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you guys follow She Hunts Lefties, Red Winged Dove on Instagram. Is it on YouTube as well?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube as well.
On YouTube. Make sure you guys follow her. I'll try to include the links on, like, my post. I really appreciate everybody joining. You guys are beyond amazing, and we are going to exit. So thank you so much. Make sure you guys like, comment, hype the video. I will probably see you guys tomorrow. If I don't see you guys tomorrow, do not kill me, but I'm going to try to have something for you guys tomorrow. So I love
Thank
you
you so
guys
much for having
very
me, Carmen.
much.
I
Of
enjoyed this
course.
completely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. You guys don't get to meet any of my friends, Lala, and I have her. So I'm sharing that with you guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Yes.